I'm Alan Spears with Occupy Democrats, and in a clip that is going absolutely viral today, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, gave an incredible statement about his thoughts on President Biden and his future as the President of the United States. Now, as many of you are all too painfully well aware, the news coverage surrounding President Biden has been a little less than flattering as of late. Many different pundits in the mainstream media, along with a number of congressional Democrats, have started voicing their concerns about President Biden and his mental acuity and have requested that he step down as the Democratic nominee. Following the less than desirable performance in the first presidential debate with Donald Trump, it would seem that the mainstream media and, again, a number of different Democrats have started to lose their faith and confidence that Biden can beat Trump. It would seem, though, that President Biden has been taking a large number of different actions to try to counteract this growing narrative within the media that he isn't fit or he isn't up to the job. He recently did a solo 1-hour press conference where he took a number of different questions from a variety of different reporters, as well as been appearing in a number of different public events and speaking in front of numerous different crowds. However, it would not seem to be enough for some people. It does seem necessary to remember that President Biden has never been one to have too much interest in media attention or the public spotlight, and has instead chosen to focus more on the job he was elected to do and actually work more behind the scenes, so to speak. On the other side of the spectrum, it would seem that Trump is only ever interested in the public eye or media attention and continuously held rallies and events to drum up support from his donors and his base, and really didn't focus much time at all working as the president. Trump literally spent weeks away from the White House and playing golf with his buddies rather than focusing on the needs of this country and charging the Secret Service for their stay and their services at Mar-a-Lago. Now, despite the fact that Trump was incredibly negligent in his first round as president, his second one would be an authoritarian turnover through Project 2025, and the fact that he has been deeply involved with Jeffrey Epstein and the numerous scandals involved in that whole topic, the media seems more content to focus on President Biden and his age and mental acuity. And despite everything that Biden has said and done to prove that he is up to the job, it has not done enough to waylay fears, and that is actually what brings us into our story today. Now, President Biden met with numerous world leaders at the NATO summit these past few days, and gave some rather stirring comments. Now, despite the fact that Biden gave a number of different energized and kind of fiery remarks at the NATO summit recently, it has not stopped questions circulating even in the summit as to whether or not Biden was up to the challenge. And in the clip that I'm about to show you, Justin Trudeau, again, the Prime Minister of Canada, was asked about his thoughts on President Biden and whether or not he could perform the necessary duties and functions of the presidency a second term. But Trudeau did not leave anything to question and made his statements and sentiments loud and clear. So take a look and see for yourself what the Prime Minister of Canada had to say about President Joe Biden.
Mr. Prime Minister, Joe Biden has been facing intense pressure at home from within his own party to step down because of concerns over his mental acuity at the age of 81 years old. During this NATO summit, Mr. Prime Minister, what is your assessment of President Biden's performance and if he can lead on the global stage? And if you could also take that question and answer in French as well.
We are lucky on the world stage to have Joe Biden leading here at NATO, on the G7, in some extraordinarily consequential times. His depth of experience, his thoughtfulness, his steadfastness on the greatest issues and challenges of our time is a credit to the work that we're all doing together. And it has been, as always, a privilege and pleasure to work alongside him on big issues, and I look forward to continuing to.
And there you have it. No questions to be had. Justin Trudeau, along with numerous other allies within NATO, absolutely are throwing their weight behind President Biden. And it really shouldn't come as a surprise because Biden has been so successful with the legislation that he has passed within our own country. It would stand to reason that he has the strength and the know-how to do the same with NATO. And let's absolutely not forget, Trump has recently said he didn't even know what NATO was, and has clearly only been acting in his own self-interests, which, curiously enough, seem to align with Russia's as well. Though it really isn't too curious, is it? Now, while yes, I want to recognize that the leaders of other countries and other nations, they shouldn't have any say really in who the leader of our country is. That is something that we, the people of this country, should ultimately say. However, it is important to recognize the fact that, especially within NATO and at the G7 summit, we have to work with a lot of different people, and we want someone that they are also comfortable working with. But of course, we want a president who has the country's best interests at heart first and foremost. But there isn't anything saying that both this country and our allies within NATO can't be aiming for the same mutually beneficial goals. Overall, though, it does feel a little bit reassuring to have other world leaders see what we see in President Biden, as well as recognizing the clear and present danger that is Donald Trump. These people don't want to work with him, not again. Trump did nothing but embarrass this country for 4 straight years during his presidency, and well, he continues to embarrass us to this day, but at the very least, he's not a leader. So frankly, a massive thank you to Trudeau for showing his support for President Biden. Hopefully we can get through this election to the other side and still be a beacon of democracy and freedom rather than this Christian nationalist authoritarian nightmare that Trump and his allies are desperate to create. And finally, as a reminder, if you have not registered to vote, please do so and make sure you show up to the polls Tuesday, November 5th, because, you know, no big deal, but the fate of our country hangs in the balance.